Hello peoples! In today's video we're going to continue our series with the Overdrive event missions that CIG has put out so that you can get that F7A upgrade token for your F7C Mark II. This is going to be the last set of missions that were put out, the Xenothreat Surveillance. There's a total of 3 in the series, and at the end of that you're going to get an emergency at Kareah mission. So this is the point where I tell you to sit back, relax, get yourself a tasty beverage, a nice little snack, and let's get to it. So just like in the previous missions, you will find the new set listed underneath the priority section of your Mobi-Glass. There's a total of 3 missions that you have to complete. The first mission, number 1, fairly easy. You can do it probably solo. Second mission gets a little bit harder. Again, you can probably do it solo. Third mission is going to be the hardest one to do. That one you might need some help. More on that in a little bit. So basically this is a reset a satellite mission with a little bit of, I guess, improvements. So when you first get in there, you're going to see that the satellite is guarded by at least 2 NPCs from Xenothreat. And in this case, if you're on a laggy server or a server that's not so fresh, your NPCs are going to be pretty much deaf, dumb, and stupid. They're going to sit there and you're going to be able to kill them right off the bat. Now, if you get onto a fairly fresh server, those NPCs are going to react, and because they are in the Saber class ship, they're still not going to be too hard to take out. Saber's still pretty fragile, but they're not going to show up right away, and they may pop a couple missiles at you. Just be aware of that. So once you've cleared the NPCs out of the area, you're going to want to take whatever ship that you're using and get in as close as possible to the entrance to the satellite, because once you hit that reset button on the satellite, you're going to have to defend it from additional waves of Xenothreat fighters that will come in and try to reestablish contact. Now, there's 2 things to keep in the back of your mind here. One is you've got to go through some mines. That's what those little red spiky things are that you see at the entrance. They're tripwires. And 2, you've got to survive the EVA experience. So as you can see here, just getting out of the cockpit of your ship could end up in you dying. Just saying, you know, the EVA is not in a good spot right here. I highly recommend that you bring a gun with you. Pistol will work just fine, and that you shoot these mines out at their base and detonate them before you try to go in. Again, because of the way EVA works in this game, I would not try to thread my way through those little red laser tripwires. You're probably going to die. If you do hit one of those, you will die for sure. Now, another thing that you could do is you could bring a tractor beam, and you could use a cargo box, and you could push that cargo box with the tractor beam through all the tripwires, thus detonating the mines. I find it's just easier to have a little handgun, bring a couple, extra magazines with you so that you can clear them all out. Yes, they will be inside the satellite, and yes, they will be around the terminal that you have to access to be able to turn the satellite back on. So, the reason why you really want to clear all these mines out, not have to deal with them, is because once you do hit that button on the terminal to basically reinitialize the satellite, you're going to have to beat feet back out and get back into your ship as fast as possible. You're about to see why in a minute. So again, be cognizant if you're not clearing those tripwires out. I think you're playing Russian roulette here. But once you hit that little reconnect button, you got to beat feet out of here as fast as possible. So it also helps to remember how you got into the satellite. Here we're going to see how EV can hang you up real quick. No problems. That wasn't too bad. Jump back into our fighter, and then we move on to the next part of this. That's going to be defending it from the Xenothreat NPCs that jump in. So right now you'll notice up here we have a little timer. That's how long the satellite's going to take to basically get reconnected to the network. Meanwhile, you're going to have to fight off a couple different waves of Xenothreat fighters. Mostly they're going to be light fighters. You will see things like gladiuses and arrows quite a lot. You're also going to see vanguards. Now, the Vanguard's special here. You'll notice that we've got Xenothreat is accessing the system bar right below our normal reconnection bar here. That is a vanguard. And what that vanguard is a primary target. So here I'm going to set all my weapons up so that they're all firing on one trigger, and I'm going to have to take out that vanguard as fast as possible. If they are able to complete accessing the system, you're going to fail the mission. Now, in the first and second missions, you can do this solo. It's not that hard. You're going to be able to do it. The vanguards don't come in at such a rate that they're going to overwhelm you, and you have a little bit of time in between each wave. So the main thing is just take whatever ship you like flying and put something that hits heavy in it. So in the case of the F-7C Mark II, I've got it all loaded up with cannons, and I'm just going to pound on the vanguard until it goes away. Another little quick tip is, if you soft death an enemy NPC ship, make sure you lock back onto it and blow it up, so that when you are trying to cycle through your targets, you don't include that into your target list, because it'll slow you down. As you can see here, another one has popped up. We do get a little indicator that tells us that that's a primary target, which is great. Use that to your advantage. And like I said before, in the first and second missions, you can do this solo. Not too hard. The second one, you're going to have to move your butt a little fast, try to get out of that satellite and be quick on the trigger. You are going to have to zip back and forth between where these vanguards spawn in. They do have a habit of spawning, almost 10 kilometers away from the satellite, and as soon as they spawn in, they will start to try to access the system. There's no delay. So you do want to, make sure that you keep moving around, make sure you can get at least a target lock on them and know where they are, and then at the same time, you don't want to allow too many of those NPCs to survive each wave, because eventually they will start to gang up on you and could make life a little bit, difficult in trying to take out the primary targets. Now, all three missions are basically a rinse and repeat of the first. The only difference is they scale it up by having more NPC ships jump in at the same time, and the frequency at which those NPC ships come in increases. Okay, well, I should say it decreases. The short amount of time in between each wave. You will also see different types of ships in Wave 2 and Wave 3. So Wave 3 being the hardest, you're going to get Valkyries that pop in, you're going to get Drake Cutlasses that come in, you're also going to get arrows and that kind of stuff. So just be aware that you are going to need a decent ship to be able to take them all out. The final wave in each of these missions is going to be a group of enemy fighters that jump in, and they're going to try and take you out. I highly recommend that even after you get a completion on the mission, that you stick around until you get the notification that you are trespassing. Reason being is because I vacated one after I got the objective completed. I warped away, and I still got a fail on the mission. So just wait for that little leave the area or you'll be trespassing. That lets you know that 100% everything's done and you can get out of Dodge. As I said earlier, each wave is just a copycat of the next, and you shouldn't have too much problem doing the first two. On the third one, I highly recommend that you bring at least one wingman with you. You're going to have to move pretty good, and you're going to have a little bit of luck if you're going to try to do this solo. I attempted to do it solo twice, and unfortunately they were able to hack the satellite before I could kill all the vanguards. Now, main reason here is because multiple vanguards will spawn in, and they have a nasty habit of spawning about 10 kilometers away from the satellite. The issue is that one may spawn on one side of the satellite and the other one may spawn on the other side of the satellite with about a 20 kilometer distance in between. So if you pick up on one and you afterburn over to it and then engage it and kill it, the second one, or even in some cases the third one, may be outside your normal sensor range and you won't pick it up right away. Meanwhile, that little progress bar that we know where they try to access the satellite will continue, and you'll be like, well, I don't see anything on my screen. The problem is they're there. They're just outside of your sensor range. You won't be able to pick them up passively. So if you have, 2 or 3 other players with you, what you guys should do is position yourselves to where you're each in a different quadrant on the satellite, and you're about 5 kilometers away from the satellite. And that way, you'll be sure to pick up the vanguards when they spawn in, and you'll be able to kill them as soon as possible. In this case here, I'm on the second mission, and I'm running to get this next vanguard here. And you're going to see here in a minute, we're, 6-7 kilometers away from the station when I actually get to them. So just be aware of it, that they may not pop up. Now, once you're done with those missions, you're going to get a emergency at Kareah message that pops up. Again, this one here is like the bunker missions that we had at the very beginning of this whole thing, and you're going to want to come armed for basically, a bunker mission of a long duration, let's say that. So you want to bring a crypto key. There are pass keys that you can find off dead bodies to be able to access the system in the front. And this is just like if you have to reset your character for a security warrant or something like that. Same type of mission where you go in here. Basically, you go up to the computer terminal. There's a little side panel when you first start the mission that you have to hit to stop the data access from Xenothreat, and then you have to put in an access key or a crypto key into the terminal, and as you can see right there, start hacking the system to reset it. Now, you don't have to fight your way onto the station, and you don't have to fight your way into the station. Xenothreat won't even show up until after you've turned off the signal from Kareah to Xenothreat. Then you put in your crypto key, and guess what? You're going to start seeing Xenothreat NPCs spawn left and right. There's quite a few of them. You're not going to be able to do this mission solo. You'd have to be really, really, really good and very, very lucky, I think, to do this one solo, because there's just going to be too many NPCs spawning. The other thing that you need to remember, too, is that this mission is server-wide, and it opens up to anyone that has completed those 3 previous missions. So not only are you dealing with Xenothreat, but there will be players in here that are running around as well. Here's a little tip for you. If you see a little blue upside down triangle, that's going to be a player. They may not be in your party. I recommend that you bring lots of ammo too. These guys ate up a lot of ammo. They're all running around in heavy and medium armor, and I think I went through close to 7, almost 8 boxes of FS9 ammo. I also recommend that you bring something that hits pretty hard and has some decent range, like the FS9 here, and that you use heavy armor, and you bring a lot of stims because you are going to take rounds. Now, the whole thing here is that you need to hold out until, obviously the crypto key hacks everything and resets the server. I recommend that if you have enough people, that you put them on the multiple floors of the outpost, and that you watch for dead zones and everything where Xenothreat NPCs can be crouching. They do a very good job hiding from you and popping out of nowhere. If you can get into a good killing position off of with some cover and concealment off one of the hallways, and you got a long shot down a hallway, by all means stake it out, sit there, and try to keep those numbers down, because they will eventually overrun you if you just allow them to continue to spawn. Now, just like with the previous mission, once you get that little completion, hang out for a little bit and wait to get the trespass. So here the completion mission went through. It's telling us that everything's good to go. We still have Xenothreat NPCs in here, and we're going to have to make a running firefight to the airlock to get out, because they're going to continue to respawn. But as you can see, we got the trespass. That lets everyone know that we're good to go. I would say if you're going to do this as a group, you're going to want probably 4 people with you. And of course, watch out for the bushes that reach out and grab you and get in your way. Nasty little bushes. Again, you are going to have to fight your way out. A lot of the Xenothreat NPCs are pushing heavy armor, so it will take multiple rounds to take them down, so bring plenty of ammo. And this mission does take a while to complete. It's I think we were there maybe close to 10 minutes, 12 minutes. It does help to have a Kareah with a tier 1 bed. Set your respawn point there, park the Kareah off, kind of like we did, so it's hovering. If you do get killed, you'll respawn in the Kareah, have some armor in there, re-equip, and then go back in. Oh, man, don't you just love this EVA model? I can't wait for this thing to be fixed. That's all I got. Those are my little tips. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that like, subscribe, and notify. And if you've got anything to add, leave it in the comments section below. You know, I'm always looking for feedback from everyone. And, you know, if there's anything that I missed, or if you've got little tips or tricks, you know, let everybody know. It's always welcome. As always, till next time, take care.